Hello, sports fans. Welcome to Spruce Sports Central. Today, we're going to be going over my pre-combine NFL mock draft. So, diving right in and beginning with the Titans, who have the number one overall pick. And here I've got the Titans going Cam Ward. Titans, they definitely need a quarterback. Will Levis is clearly not their guy, and it seems to me that they value Cam Ward more than Shedeur Sanders, and I would agree. I think Cam Ward is a great player, really high ceiling, and even though I don't think he's an elite quarterback prospect, I think he's good enough for the Titans to take here at number one, and I don't see the Titans passing him up. Number two, you've got the Browns. So the Browns are an interesting team because they can take a quarterback in Shedeur Sanders, but I don't think they have to. Because they can definitely take an edge rusher like Abdul Carter, who I think is the best player in the draft. Because Myles Garrett wants out, they can try to get their Myles Garrett replacement in Abdul Carter. But in this mock draft, I do have the Browns taking a quarterback in Shedeur Sanders. He is a great player, might be the best pure passer in the draft. Very accurate. There is some character concerns, but I think the Browns try to nail down the quarterback spot. And in this mock draft, I've got them taking Shedeur Sanders. Number three overall for the Giants. So it's interesting here for the Giants at number three because they need a quarterback in the worst way possible. There are some rumors they trade for Matthew Stafford, but at the time of recording this, they haven't yet. But with how the board is played out with the two quarterbacks off the board, it's interesting for the Giants. I really like Abdul Carter, and I think he's going to be a great player, but edge also isn't necessarily the biggest need for the Giants. And because of that, I've got the Giants taking arguably the best player in the draft in Travis Hunter. He is a great player, could play both ways in the NFL, but we don't know if he'll play both ways. But a playmaker either way, whether he's playing both ways or not. A lot of potential at corner or receiver, just makes plays in general, and the Giants desperately need help at corner. He'll probably end up playing there with some playing time at receiver, if I had to take a guess for now, but great player for the Giants at number three as they take Travis Hunter. The Patriots at number four, so they can go a few different directions. They can take Abdul Carter, they can take a receiver in Teddy McMillan, or a lineman in Will Campbell. Now, lineman is their biggest need, but here I've got them going Abdul Carter. They can definitely use help at edge rusher, plus they get best player available in Abdul Carter. I'm a big Abdul Carter fan. I think he's going to be a great player. You've got the Patriots taking him here at number four. The Jaguars at number five, I've got them going Mason Graham. He is an elite interior defensive lineman from Michigan. Been great for them the past couple years. The Jaguars need help along the defensive line, and they get it here with Mason Graham. The Raiders at number six are an interesting spot. They are another team who needs a quarterback, but with the top two guys off the board, I don't love the way the board has fallen for the Raiders. But I do have them going with Teddy McMillan right here. He is a great pick, 6'5", an insane catch radius, and even though we don't know who the Raiders quarterback will be, it gives them somebody to throw the ball to besides Brock Bowers. But a great receiver in Teddy McMillan goes off the board at number 6 to the Raiders. Moving on to number 7 overall with the Jets. Jets, they're obviously another team that needs a quarterback, but obviously none really available right now. I like Jackson Dart a lot, but I just think it's too early for him here at number 7. But instead, I've got the Jets taking Georgia defensive lineman Mykel Williams. He is a great player. He played more inside at Georgia. I was a can play edge rusher. He's a great athlete, but probably going to play more outside in the NFL at 265 pounds. But that's not a problem for Mykel Williams. A great athlete, a really good power rusher, gives the Jets versatility along the defensive line, and I've got them taking Mykel Williams at number 7. The Panthers at number 8 are another team in an interesting spot. They can go offense and continue to build around Bryce Young, or they can address the defense, which was worse than the NFL last year. But because of how the board is played out, I've got them going with another Georgia defender in linebacker Jalen Walker. He's listed as a linebacker here. Technically, he's more of an edge rusher and will probably play more of an edge role in the NFL. But Jalen Walker, he is a very versatile player. He played some off-ball linebacker at Georgia and some edge rusher. A great pass rusher, insane athlete, and really gives the Panthers just a playmaker on the defensive side of the ball. Number 9 overall, you got the Saints. They're another interesting one. And I've got them taking another edge rusher in James Pierce Jr. There are some character concerns saying he might fall out of the first round, but in this mock draft, I've got the Saints taking James Pierce Jr. at number 9. He's a great player, was very productive at Tennessee with over 100 pressures over the last 2 years combined. Has long arms, a good athlete, and a great player for the Saints at number 9. The Bears at number 10, they need desperate help along the offensive line, and they get their choice with all the linemen still being on the board, and I've got them going with LSU's Will Campbell. He played left tackle at LSU. Some people think he might have to move inside at the NFL because his arms aren't the longest, but whether he stays outside or moves inside, the Bears get help at a position of need, and they try to protect Caleb Williams. I'd like to pick there for the Bears at number 10. Number 11, you've got the 49ers. So the 49ers, they're in a pretty good spot here because they have a pretty high pick in this year's draft, and their team really isn't that bad. They were just decimated by injuries this past year. But the 49ers, they can go a couple of different directions. They can take Kelvin Banks or some lineman. They can take Will Johnson or somebody else. But I've got them taking Will Johnson out of Michigan. Their top corner, Travarius Ward, is set to hit free agency. Will Johnson, a great player. He only played 6 games this past year at Michigan due to injury, but a great player, one of the best corners in the country when healthy, and the 49ers upgrade their secondary. Moving on to number 12 overall with the Cowboys. So the Cowboys can go a couple of different directions here. They can take Ashton Jeanty, they can take Kelvin Banks, or somebody else. I think Kelvin Banks would be a good pick here for the Cowboys, but in this mock draft, I do have them taking Ashton Jeanty. He is an insane running back prospect. He nearly broke the college rushing record last year with 2,601 yards and 29 touchdowns. He's not the biggest guy, standing at just 5'9", but a great player, can run you over, make you miss, great all-around back, and he gives the Cowboys an elite running back at number 12. The Dolphins at number 13, I've got them taking offensive lineman Kelvin Banks Jr. He's another player, might have to move inside at the next level, but either way, he is a great player, could potentially be versatile for the Dolphins, and whether he's going to play tackle or guard, the Dolphins get help along the offensive line. The Colts at number 14, they're another team that can go a few different directions. They can take a lineman, they can take a safety like Malachi Starks, they can take tight end Tyler Warren, and I do like Tyler Warren, although I think it might be a little bit early for him, because he's got a very unique skill set, and tight ends aren't necessarily the most valued in the NFL, although we did see Brock Bowers get taken 13 last year. But in this mock draft, I do have the Colts taking a lineman in Missouri tackle Armand Mibu. Or Membu. Sorry, I said that wrong. But he played right tackle in college, and he's another player probably better suited for guard in the NFL, as he's just 6'3" and doesn't have the longest arms. But he's a good athlete, would be a good pick for the Colts, and he likely play right guard for them with their current starting guard, Will Fry, set to be a free agent. Moving on to 15 for the Falcons, and this feels like it has to be pass rusher right here, as they were second worst in sacks this past year with just 31, and I've got them going with the extremely productive Mike Green out of Marshall. He led the country with 17 sacks this past season, he was good at the Senior Bowl, and I've got the Falcons upgrading the pass rush at number 15. The Cardinals at 16, I've got them taking another pass rusher in Texas A&M edge rusher Shamir Stewart. Shamir Stewart, a very interesting prospect. He is 6'6", 290, a great athlete, also really strong, and can really play multiple positions along the defensive line. With the Cardinals, not only do they get a great athlete, they get a very versatile player along the defensive line. It really helps their pass rush. Number 17, you've got the Bengals. So this pick should definitely be defense for the Bengals, because they already need to re-sign Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, and that probably won't leave them much money to put towards defense in free agency. So why not address defense in the first round of the draft? But I've got the Bengals taking Jahdae Barron out of Texas. He is a great player, and the Bengals definitely need help on defense. I could see them taking a lineman in somebody like Kenneth Grant, but I do have them taking a corner here at 17. The Seahawks at number 18, another team that can go a few different directions. They need help along the offensive line. Can also take somebody in the front 7. But I've got the Seahawks taking interior offensive lineman in Tyler Booker out of Alabama. There's definitely some guys who are moving inside the guard, like Will Campbell, or like Kelvin Banks, or Armand Membu. But Booker actually played guard at Alabama, allowed just 2 sacks in 27 starts. And the Seahawks desperately need help along the interior of the offensive line, and they get the best interior lineman in the draft. The Buccaneers at number 19, they're an interesting team. they're probably looking to take an edge rusher, and Nick Scorton's really the only guy available who can maybe go into the first round. Not necessarily, I'm not necessarily sold on him as a true first round pick, but I got the Buccaneers doing it right here at number 19. He wasn't the best this past year, but he's got good size, 6'4", 280, a great athlete for his size, and I think the Buccaneers take a chance on him here at 19. The Broncos here at number 20, I've got them taking Penn State tight end Tyler Warren, and I really like this pick for the Broncos because Tyler Warren, a very unique player with a interesting skill set, is a great pass catching tight end, also a great blocker, and very good with the ball in his hands. And he even threw a few passes for Penn State this past year. But I really like the fit with the Broncos here because we saw what Sean Payton did with the unique skill set of Taysom Hill back when he was in New Orleans. I think Tyler Warren is a very similar type player while being a better pass catcher and a better weapon for Bo Nix. But it also allows you to get creative. I really like the fit there with Tyler Warren to the Broncos. And that's the pick there at number 20. The Steelers at number 21. They need to figure out the quarterback position, but I don't see them going quarterback right here. Instead, I've got them taking Luther Burden out of Missouri. He is smaller at 5'11", but he would fit in very nicely into the swap alongside George Pickens. And he's also very good at the ball in his hands, and would be another good weapon for whoever the Steelers quarterback is. The Chargers at number 22 are an interesting one. They desperately need help at receiver. Mecca Mbuka and Matthew Golden are both available, but this feels a lot like a Jim Harbaugh pick, and I've got them taking Michigan tight end Colson Loveland. Obviously, played for Jim Harbaugh when he was at Michigan, won a national championship, and I would prefer the Chargers to take an actual receiver, but Loveland, a great pass catcher, got good hands, and it seems a lot like a Jim Harbaugh pick. The Packers at number 23, I think they should definitely take somebody along either the offensive line or the defensive line. But I've got them taking Ray Zabel from North Dakota State. He played left tackle at North Dakota State, will definitely move inside at the next level, but he's played 4 of the 5 spots along the offensive line, providing great versatility for the Packers, and really gives them some more flexibility along the offensive line. The Vikings at number 24, I've got them taking Walter Nolan out of Ole Miss. He is a great player. There's also a very good chance he is not available here at pick 24. He's a really good run defender. He's 6'3", roughly 300 pounds, and a major upgrade to the Vikings' interior defensive line. The Texans at number 25, I've got them taking Ohio State tackle Josh Simmons. He might be the best overall tackle in the class. He's a player probably going to stick a tackle in the NFL, but he's a great player. Injury pushes him down the board as he got hurt in the middle of this past season, but he's a great player, and the offensive line really held back the Texans this past season, and they get one of the best linemen in the draft. The Rams at number 26 are in an interesting spot because they can definitely take a quarterback if they end up trading Matthew Stafford, but I don't see them taking one right here. Instead, I've got them taking Emeka Egbuka and making it back-to-back Ohio State players. But Emeka Egbuka, essentially your Cooper Kupp replacement with the Rams looking to trade Cooper Kupp. He played in the slot at Ohio State, really good all-around player, and he's pretty much your Cooper Kupp replacement right there at number 26. The Ravens at number 27, I've got them taking Georgia safety Malachi Starks. I think there's also another good chance Starks isn't available here at 27, but he's very similar to the Ravens' other star safety in Kyle Hamilton. Malachi Starks not quite as big as Kyle Hamilton, as Malachi Starks I believe is 6'1", whereas Kyle Hamilton is 6'4". But Malachi Starks, great player, very good athlete, very smart player, and him pairing with Kyle Hamilton could be a great safety duo. But I've got the Ravens taking Malachi Starks at number 27. Moving on to the Lions at number 28. So I've got them taking Michigan's Kenneth Grant. I prefer to see the Lions taking edge rusher, although there's just not really any edge rushers that I would really like for them in this situation, unless they want to take a chance on Jack Sawyer, but I've got them taking Kenneth Grant. He is absolutely massive at 6'3", 342. Great athlete for his size, great run defender, and the Lions beef up the interior of the defensive line. The Commanders at number 29. There's a few players I like here. Matthew Golden or Jihad Campbell. I've got them taking Jihad Campbell out of Alabama. He is a great athlete, gives the Commanders some flexibility with what he can do, and he also allows the Commanders to get younger at the linebacker position. The Bills at number 30, I've got them going with Matthew Golden out of Texas. He is a great player, made some big plays for Texas in big moments this past year. The Bills desperately need weapons for Josh Allen, and they get a very good player in Matthew Golden. 31 with the Chiefs, they need offensive linemen. It's not a surprise there. And I've got them taking Oregon tackle Josh Connerly. He's a very good player, started at left tackle the past 2 years for Oregon, a good athlete, and the Chiefs, they just need any help they can get along the offensive line. And finally, the Eagles at number 32, we've got another Oregon player in Derek Harmon. He is a great player for the Eagles. They won the Super Bowl because of their dominance along the defensive line, and Milton Williams and Montez Sweat are both free agents, so why not take Derek Harmon here at number 32. But that is my pre-combine NFL mock draft. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to like this video, subscribe, turn notifications so you don't miss any other upcoming videos. I do my best to post as often as possible, and I will see you in the next video.